Space is an incredibly isolating place, and loneliness does awful things to the human mind. Our lack of knowledge on the subject allows filmmakers almost total freedom to fill their vision of space with all the ghoulish delights they can think of. So with that in mind, I'm Ellie with What Culture, here with the 10 best horror movies set in space. Number 10. Event Horizon. Though not initially beloved upon its 1997 release, Paul W.S. Anderson's Event Horizon has found a second wind in recent years. Starring the likes of Lawrence Fishburne and Sam Neill, the movie is about a group of astronauts who rescue a stricken spacecraft, only to find more inside than they bargained for. To be fair, if you're going to end up stuck in space with a bunch of monsters, then Morpheus and Dr. Alan Grant are some pretty decent teammates. Described as The Shining but in space by some critics, Event Horizon is crammed with creative monster designs, spine-chilling music, and truly disturbing scenes. Not nearly as disturbing as the initial response to the movie was, because people hated it when it first came out. The film's original runtime was a whopping 130 minutes, so Paramount made some serious edits to the project behind Anderson's back. Some blame this for why Event Horizon suffered as badly as it did, because it was devoid of its creator's true vision. Still, people have come around to it, which is all that matters, even if they did take about 2 decades to do so. Number 9. Lifeforce. Another cult classic directed by a very famous name, 1985's Lifeforce is the work of Poltergeist and Texas Chainsaw Massacre head honcho Tobe Hooper. It kicks off when the space shuttle Churchill comes across an alien spaceship full of dead bats and 3 naked humanoids floating in glass tanks. It just sounds like a typical Saturday night out. The crew of Churchill recover the bodies and begin to transport them back to Earth, but they too suffer a mysterious fate and a rescue mission for them is launched as well. Whilst everything gets underway in space, the action does move to Earth when the 3 naked people, who it turns out are shape-shifting alien vampires, start rampaging throughout London. The overwhelming feeling when watching Lifeforce is, what am I watching? It's an utterly bonkers picture with enough Lovecraftian elements to keep any fans of weird horror thoroughly entertained. Yes, it's not fully set in space, but there is enough spacey stuff in there to appease. Also, Patrick Stewart is in it, and he knows a thing or two about the cosmos. Number 8. Pitch Black. Before he made movies exclusively about fast cars, preposterous chase sequences, and family, Vin Diesel appeared in this 2000 sci-fi cum horror adventure about a convict who must team up with his captors to escape a harsh desert world. Diesel plays Riddick, a character who would eventually get their own film series. He has genetically enhanced eyes that mean he can see in the dark, whilst also being very sensitive to sunlight. And would you know it, the planet they crash land on has basically no light source. What are the chances? Riddick must help the crash survivors escape the creatures that live on the planet that just so happen to have a similar condition to him. The film was praised for its monster design and intriguing premise, but was labelled as repetitive and formulaic by some. However, it really zips by and is the start of a fairly famous franchise, as well as a breakout performance for Diesel that set him on the path to superstardom. Wait a second, does that mean that this film is technically responsible for the Fast and Furious saga? Kill it! Kill it with fire! Number 7. It, the Terror from Beyond Space. Sadly, not a movie about killer clowns on a rocket ship, It, the Terror from Beyond Space is the oldest film on this list, first premiering in 1958. A campy horror in the style of the 50s Dracula and Frankenstein movies, It details the mission of a team of astronauts attempting to find out what happened to the crew of a voyage to Mars. Here's a spoiler, the monster on the poster probably had something to do with it. 1958 was the perfect time for space-related movies. Things were hotting up in the space race and Yuri Gagarin was just 3 years away from becoming the first person to complete an orbit of the Earth. It may have been made with a contemporary audience in mind, but it still holds up today. It's got all the hallmarks of a classic creature feature, right down to the seemingly unstoppable main villain that steals the show from its human counterparts. A great watch if you're in the mood for some light-hearted, horror-tinged fun. It, the Terror from Beyond Space is an oldie but a goldie. Number 6. Sunshine. Not to be confused with Little Miss Sunshine, Sunshine on Leith or The Sun Always Shines on TV, the 2007 film just called Sunshine is ironically quite dark. That's both literally and figuratively, as this movie plays out in a future world where the sun has gone out. It's up to a star-studded group of spacefarers to turn the big light back on. Cillian Murphy, Chris Evans, Rose Byrne, Michelle Yeoh, Benedict Wong, Mark Strong. These are just some of the names involved in the universe's biggest lightbulb change, giving Sunshine the most stacked cast of any film on this list. They took this project very seriously too, living together in a confined space to simulate the real sensation of traveling with someone through space. More of a psychological horror than anything else, Sunshine definitely has its place in the genre thanks to its director Danny Boyle. He did 28 Days Later, in case you didn't know. With such a hugely talented cast, strong premise and great director backing it, Sunshine is a great watch for a rainy day, although hopefully the rain doesn't last forever. Number 5. Queen of Blood. Set in the super futuristic year of 1990, Queen of Blood, also known as Planet of Blood, is another vampire-style space horror, as you may have guessed from the title. If you missed that subtle hint, then don't worry, we've got a real humdinger of a giveaway in the next entry. Released in 1966, Queen of Blood gets underway when an alien race traveling to Earth on a goodwill mission crash land on Mars. This sends out the intergalactic AA to pick them up. On the journey back though, the crew of the rescue ship are slowly picked off one by one, each with their blood forcibly removed. It's up to the surviving travelers to find the creature and stop it from enacting its terrible plan to breed on Earth. Look guys, just let her see what state the planet's in. She'll decide it's no place to raise kids anyway. Part sci-fi action, part tense horror hunt, part goofy 60s B-movie, Queen of Blood really does have something for everyone. Unless you're hemophobic, in which case, stay away. Number 4. Planet of the Vampires. An Italian movie from 1965, Planet of the Vampires is about a planet full of werewolves. No, just kidding, it's zombies. Okay, fine, it's vampires. Directed by the so-called master of Italian horror Mario Bava, the film's premise is as simple as its title. Two ships crash land on a deserted planet and must then fight off the possessed corpses of those that did not survive. Simple and effective, what more do you want from a movie? Considering its age, the film is very gory. Bava pulls few punches in what he shows, really pushing the boundaries for what was acceptable at the time. Furthermore, the movie is absolutely gorgeous. It is shot beautifully, which adds some real legitimacy to what could be viewed as yet another trashy low-rent horror flick. The scene where the survivors explore a derelict spaceship is particularly well made, and as creepy and foreboding as anything you'll see in cinemas today. Despite having a name you might expect to find in a bargain bin somewhere, Planet of the Vampires is a fantastic time, and is widely regarded as the best science fiction film ever made in Italy. Although, we're not entirely sure how much competition it had. Number 3. Europa Report. When it comes to found footage space horror movies, you've got two choices. You've got Apollo 18, which is a bit pants, and you've got Europa Report, which is a bit not pants. The latter concerns a voyage to the frozen moon of Jupiter called Europa. As the astronauts explore the moon, they discover that they are not alone and that they might actually be trespassing on some rather unpleasant creature's land. A slow-burning but extremely intense movie, Europa Report puts you firmly in the boots of a deserted space traveler, leaving you to wonder exactly what it would be like if you were the one trapped on an alien world. With all the science of Apollo 13, all the claustrophobia of 10 Cloverfield Lane, and all the found footage scariness of the best Blair Witch imitators, Europa Report might sound like a boring government document, but it's actually an extremely unsettling intergalactic horror story. Number 2. High Life. With her English language debut, French film director Claire Denis decided to make everyone hate her with this incredibly unsettling film. High Life came out in 2018 and stars Robert Pattinson and Juliette Binoche in an incredibly complex non-linear narrative about a group of criminals floating through space. There really is a lot going on. There's a scientist lady who wants to make artificial babies, there's a man trying to raise his young daughter, there's a lot of vile actions being committed by and against the prisoners, all while the ominous threat of a black hole creeps closer and closer. High Life is less about actual space and more about what being in such an isolated environment does to an already damaged group of people. It's about morality, resolution, and what it means to be human when you've had so many elements of human life stripped away. In terms of blood and gore, there isn't a great deal in this movie. However, when it comes to depraved actions and mental torture, there's plenty of that to go around. Number 1. Alien. Of course, Alien was going to be number 1. Now, if we'd allowed ourselves multiple films from the same franchise, then Aliens probably would have been number 2, but we didn't, so let's just focus on the one that started it all. It's Ridley Scott, it's Sigourney Weaver as Ellen Ripley, it's the Nostromo, it's John Hurt getting his tummy ripped open by a giant brown worm, it's the one, the only, 1979's Alien. The absolute granddaddy, or maybe that should be grandmummy considering how much this film did for female protagonists, of space horror. It's an unequivocal masterpiece. It's got the best parts of a slasher movie, a lone killer relentlessly hunting a group of disadvantaged protagonists, picking them off one by one, with all the best parts of sci-fi. A cool spaceship, awesome lore, glorious technobabble. It's all there, and it all holds up even after so many years. So many movies on this list either inspired or were inspired by Alien, proving that it is the very cream of the crop when it comes to horror movies set in the final frontier.